Assalamu alaikum. My name is Shehwar, Syeda Durr, and I'm a psychologist. And I'm starting a series of mental health illness related discussions on Shafi Medical and Rehabilitation Complex through this platform. And there would be it would be a sort of an open discussion, like everybody can participate and everyone wants to ask any sort of question related to mental health and mental awareness, mental illnesses. Please comment in the section below and I would definitely try to respond. And why I'm starting a series of this discussion is because there are obvious reasons. Because first of all, that there are many stigmas related to psychology, related to mental health, related to mental illnesses, and these stigmas are just like they are like continuously hitting everyone, and they are not letting us to consider psychology or mental illness as an important thing. Unfortunately, it's quite unfortunate that people just don't bother much about these topics. They don't want to discuss these sort of topics, and one of the main reasons behind is that there is a very low literacy rate. There is very low literacy regarding mental health, and above all, if we just talk about Pakistani context, so definitely there is a very low literacy. People don't consider these kind of things to be treatable, they don't think that they should give proper attention to, at least. So these topics need to discuss much often, and that's why I started. And secondly, there are certain false and misinformation that is being passed on continuously on social media regarding mental illnesses. Everybody is giving their own sort of definitions that okay, this problem, it means you have this, it means you have this. There are proper psychiatric guidelines of every sort of mental illness, and these guidelines are basically very important to identify when the problem actually occurs and when it's just a simple sort of feeling that can be a disposition, that can be a certain effect of your mood. That's it is. So basically today I want to talk about depression, one of the most common problem throughout the world is the most common problem. In case of Pakistan, almost I just went through certain research and I found out that almost 45% teens are suffering from depression and any sort of mental sickness. And above all, Pakistan is one of the the country which is a ratio of 1 to even means one psychiatric person, one psychiatrist equals to one person. Ratio बहुत poor है. Like ऐसा नहीं है कि every person is just going to a psychiatry and every person is just going to a psychologist. It's totally not like that. Psychiatrist to person ratio is very low. So the statistics are always staggering in case of Pakistan, and properly diagnosed cases are very low. The patients are very mistreatable because they are continuously giving wrong diagnosis sometimes, and sometimes they are just don't identify what they're going through, because all the mental problems, they are not tangible, they are quite intangible, and they are just like the feelings sort of things, and that's why people don't identify them very quickly that they have certain problems, and they should seek help, and they should go to certain people to seek help, to ask for help. So that's why people go to a psychiatrist or a psychologist very late, when actually their problem has causing distress in their life, a lot of distress in their life. So just giving you an preamble of when we talk about depression, just take a moment and think that we people are just open to environment, right? Our senses are quite open to environment. Our eyes are continuously recording every sort of information like a camera. Our ears are continuously recording even transcripting every sound that we are taking in. Our body has intellectual memory, and it is continuously consuming every sort of information. So there is an influx of information, and it's a lot of information that's going inside. So at times, it's very obvious that at times that our brain doesn't comprehend all sort of information. That our mind has such a capability, it is so proficient that it sees all the information that is not relatable, that is unmeaningful, that is totally, thousands of stray information, thousands of complicated thoughts, and horrifying sort of thoughts. Okay, these our brain are continuously just sorting them, and only attending to that part of information that is directly related to our mental health, that is directly related to our lives, that are directly related to our meaningful life. So that's how our brain works. A healthy mind, how a healthy mind works. So this is the way. So healthy mind just doesn't cater those feelings that continuously repeatedly tell us that how our weaknesses, that how disgraceful and appalling we are, how meaningless our lives are. So our shadows, our healthy mind doesn't just work like that, and it just resists any sort of that, any sort of information that is continuously pulling us, and that is towards the edges. So there are certain times that our brains and minds just can't work like that. They just attend to the other side of information. There is always a different dimension of life. If there are goods, there are bads. If there are adversities, there are everything. That's how life is. It's not like that there are no problems in life, or are there any angelic or ideal life is present somewhere in the world. No, it's not that. Everybody has their own problems. So, and everybody has their own problems in a way that they are so big for them. If you put your foot in their shoes, you would see that everybody has their own problems, and they are very much huge for them. Though sometimes we see that, okay, fine, I have a bigger problem than them. Okay, mine have more issues than those. We always compare. There is always a comparison, a pool of comparisons. So normally, a healthy mind rarely focus on these pool of comparisons, and that throwing away by the people who are so successful in their life, and our mind tell us that they have their own trajectories of life, their groomings are different, they have their own capacity of life, right? So at times it happens that our mind generally don't go in that flow, and our minds just focus on all those negative thoughts, all those thoughts that are just telling us that how much meaninglessness we are, how insignificant life is, and all that thing. So when our minds start telling us in that way, it means that this is the point where the depression just crawls and just enters in your life. So what exactly is depression? I would tell you in exactly the form that are related to psychiatric guidelines, right? Because I just told you earlier that there are adversities in life, there are problems in life, and everybody has this ups and downs. So at times we are so sad. Okay? At times we sometimes miscomprehend sadness and depression, right? If somebody has left us, we are sad. If somebody's died, who is a loved one, we are sad. Obviously we are sad, and we should be. If we are not sad at that time, that's the point of concern too, right? So there are situations when we are supposed to be sad. Yeah? Our mind comprehends it in that way. But when sadness ended and when depression actually starts, okay, this is the thing that we should discuss. Like you should know that a depression basically starts when you particularly focus on the negative thoughts. When you start focusing on negative thoughts, when you continuously see that life is nothing, there is so hopelessness in life, there is no positivity in life, and life just should end, right? or you can think that you do not find any pleasurable activities more pleasure. Like when you are continuously seeking pleasure in life through certain hobbies, you have certain actions and all that, but when you don't feel any more pleasure in those activities, it's the point of concern, right? Secondly, I told you low mood, hopelessness, right? And no more pleasure in any sort of activities, and you might having very much appetite or very low appetite, or you might be insomniac, mean you would be out of sleep, or you would be sleeping so much. That these are the few core symptoms of depression. Plus, when you think that life should particularly end, mean you have some sort of suicidal ideation, which we say in our term, means suicidal thoughts that we should die now, that life is no more. That is the point of concern, and any 5 symptoms from these all symptoms means you are lying in the diagnosis of depression, so a clinical depression. Until end, this depression should linger for at least 2 weeks, 15 days, consecutive 15 days, it should be like that. So that's when we will say that, okay, I should seek help from a therapist, I should seek help from a psychiatrist or any helper you find. So this is basically clinical depression. And on top of that, one thing that all psychological problems that all the psychological problems clearly identify that when any problem start hindering in your life, it means your life, means your occupational life, your domestic life, personal life, any sort of life, any dimension of your life. If it is affecting, it means you are disturbed, means you should now seek for proper treatment. So this is basically clinical depression. Why it happens? This is the point of concern. Mostly people ask that why it happens, why depression happens, why not happens to anybody, because everyone has problems, everyone is facing all sort of problems. Then why it happens to certain specific people? So I would say that basically the scientists have still not able to particularly identify the core causes of depression, but there is always a combination of genes and environment. And one more thing, that when you're more emotionally reactive to any sort of thing, when you're more emotionally reactive, means you're more vulnerable to certain stressors. And when you are vulnerable to stressors, mean there are chances that you might be depressed, you might be stressed out, you might be any sort of mental illness. Like you are vulnerable to any sort of mental illness. So the core causes are still not particularly identifiable, but stresses, of course, are the main things that can be easily traced out. This particular stress has caused you to move to a depression. This particular stress has caused you to this and that. Definitely there are certain reasons. So the first thing is that you should first identify that where are the stressors, why are these stressors, and simply you are not unable to find out the stressor is the main stressing thing, because you are unable to identify why is there a certain thing that is causing me such kind of depression. Yeah, I'm going through that. Losing a job is one of the reason, losing a loved one is one of the reason, are facing, depression can be, there's certain, I would clearly point out that there could be 1 or 2 or 3 dimensions. Like it can be person oriented, as I have already told you that person oriented means it can be because of certain person, because you have just focused, you have enclosed your whole life and to one person, and you just felt it whole life in a one person, and you are just thinking that okay, this person has done that to me, means okay, life is over. So that can be person oriented. If someone has humiliated you, if someone has disgraced you, anything like that, anything. It can be situation oriented too, like certain situation event happened and you are unable to forget that situation. It means, and it continuously pondering you, and continuously hitting you in your mind that, oh, that thing has happened and you are disgraced, and like that, or any kind of feeling, then of course it would be one of the reason. It can be situation oriented, or it can be, you can say that you won't find any reason and it just pops up out of the blue, and you're just unable to figure out and that why is this, why is it happening to me, or my life is completely normal, I have no problems, then why is it? So at that point there comes certain other, you just go beyond your own imagination. You just need to think more about yourself to identify, to find out what exactly is there. So basically, if you find out what depression is, and if you also identify that what is causing you to be depressed, what is there exactly, then there are chances that you would be cured more, because identifying one thing is the main thing in all the psychiatric problems. Once you identify, once you diagnose exactly what you are going through and why you are going through, then definitely there are chances that you would be cured more often. So please, if you have any sort of comment, and if please leave in any question, please leave in the comment section. I will definitely respond. Okay, so once so when we talk about its treatment, like what we should do ourselves, at least if you're not going anywhere, and what we can do on our own end to cure ourselves, to manage ourselves, to manage our depression, and how much we can manage when it's the right time to seek for help. There are certain things, I would say that we use a term which is cognition. Cognition means your all thought processes. So there are certain cognitions that went wrong, that went in the other side of the life, because as I told you that there are always two sides of life. There is always two dimensions of life. There is a positive side and a negative side. There is a hopelessness and there is hope. There is adversity, but there are blessings at the same time. So when people just focus on all the negative thoughts, when you focus on just that life is nothing and all the negative and adversities in the life, then definitely your mind won't think straight. You wouldn't be able to think straight enough to find the solutions. And at that time you need to definitely go to a person, a third person who can understand your situation and who can tell you that you are going through a certain problem and what exactly you are going through, because you can't actually find out any solution, find out any way out from that. You're just simply stuck in that thing. So see that when you are doing certain mathematical problem, solving any mathematical statistical enigma, and you're just stuck, and you go to your supervisor and says that I'm just stuck, tell me how to handle it. So same is the thing with the life, that when you stuck in your life, when you got stuck in your life and you don't find any way out to just come out of that pitch dark part of your life, then at that time you should definitely run out, and you should definitely seek out the help of someone who is trained to do that, who wants to listen you. You know, sometimes there are simply listening to you is it helps. Only listening helps you, and some people just needs only that somebody can listen to what you are going through, and it works. It works as like a magic, and the people just feel so good. And in the case of depression, you know, mostly depression are treated by counseling, and we just talk with patients, we just talk with the people, and they tell their own story, and we listen to them, and they feel so relieved. It feels like their catharsis have been done, and they feel so good. So only listening helps a lot. So beyond that, or not only listening, but beyond that, we treat with a therapy, which is cognitive behavior therapy, we say CBT, and basically it deals with your cognitions, and we just want to figure out all your cognitions, and we just alter it. We just alter it to show you the other way around of life, that there are positivity. Yeah, there is no ending of life. The ending of life is not the solution to any problem. There are always, just believe on two main things, that there are adversities exist in life, and everyone in the life has some sort of problem. Everyone is going through certain sort of problems, and you can't even imagine. And second thing, that every problem has a solution. It's not like that the one door is closed and the others won't open. One door is closed and others would open. One, you lost a job, okay, there must be 100 other jobs waiting for you. And it's just not saying, it's true that you just seek whatever you seek in life, it will come to you. It will come to you naturally, like a magnet. So it's not like you're losing certain thing and you can't find any replacement in life. There are replacements. So in the case of like a majority nowadays, people come, the teens come with the problems of depression. They are depressed. I wonder why they are depressed. In fact, they are much more blessed that they have every sort of thing in the life which we fantasized a decade ago, which the people like who 1 or 2 decades ago, they just fantasized about those things that they have right now. They're enjoying, they have incentives, all that pleasure, but still they're depressed. So teens have their own sort of problems of depression. Definitely we should talk about them too, and it's another whole sort of discussion area. And definitely you can even suggest anything you want to talk about, discuss about the teens problems or anything like that, younger problems. And we should just regarding teen, we should just know that the kids of nowadays are not the kids of a decade ago or 1 or 2 or 3 decades ago. So they have their own problems and they are genuine. It's not like that they are not genuine, but they are genuine problems. They have problems. So why is the teen nowadays so much into the depression? It's because it just doesn't have a simple answer. Like, I won't say that it's just because of one thing, okay, it's just because of the other thing. No, it is a whole you can say it's a whole phenomena. It's a whole shift of phenomena that was not a decade ago, but now it is. And the change of time, the change of thinking, it has all just engulfed the teens. Materialism, you can say materialism in one hand, you can say that they are the being physically inactive, and just being only being physically inactive is playing a role, quite a role in increasing depression in teens. There are many researchers even who can explain these things. So as I've told you that regarding coming back to the depression, to the younger people, to the adults especially, that when you want to identify, when you want to know exactly that how you can yourself treat your depression, your thoughts, you can how you yourself can change your thoughts. It just, you need to take life in a broader perspective. Like you when we just focus that life is one person oriented, life is just one situation oriented, then at that time there comes a problem. We need to just think in the life in a broader perspective. Life is just not limited to or confined to one person. Life is just life, and it is beyond a person or a situation. So we need to reconsider life in a very broader perspective. That okay, fine, if that person has done wrong to me, yeah, if that situation has distressed me, then definitely I need to move on. I need to find some other solutions. I need to find some alternative, either to that person or either to that situation, or anything that we can do on our own capacity. See, human mind is has immense power. Immense power means immense power. It has capacity which is limitless. You know, we have done marvels in life. We humans have done marvels in life, and our mind has this much power that we can't even imagine. It's beyond our imagination. Then how is it possible that we are not able to change our thought processes only? We are not able to change our thought patterns only. How is it not possible? Okay, we can do. It's just because we need to first focus on what we want to do. If you are determined, if you're willing to change in life, then the world is yours. But if you don't, if you know, I would add here that depression has certain pleasurable feeling. You know, depression is quite pleasurable. It's because you might find it funny that how it is pleasurable, but actually it is. It gives pleasure. People, you know, you have often seen that people living in a depressed state, they just listen the sad songs, and they would like to, and sad songs, and they're continuously crying while listening to the sad songs, or they would read some sad stories, or they would watch some sad movies, and they would cry on that for hours and hours because it's so pleasurable for them, and it's just releasing your all pleasure hormones. So that's why we just don't just jump out of the depression easily, because we are quite and on top of that, we are seeking attention as well. You know, human has a tendency that we actually almost always want attention from people around, and we seek attention. We try our best to seek attention. Even you just notice your kids around you, and what sort of activities they do to seek your attention. And there are a lot of things that sometimes we're just so amazed to see that, oh my god, the kid has done this just to seek our attention. So that's how life is, that we throughout our life, from childhood to adulthood, we continuously seek our attention. And even in childhood, when you got sick, parents attend to you most. They are always pampering you, and they're always cuddling you because you're sick and you are getting your favorite foods. So our mind is basically conditioned to that scenario, that when you get sick, you would be entertained, you would get what you want, you would get your favorite chocolate, you would get your favorite ice cream, and that's conditioned brain is it just went on like that till our adulthood. And even at adulthood, what we do is that we again seek attention, and when we are depressed, we seek attention. Like in your married life, you can see that if you want to get your partner attention, you just need to be depressed and sit on the one side of the corner, okay, and you would be immediately entertained. So that's how depression is, that it just attached with you like a leech, and you are just enjoying it continuously, and you're not coming out of it. You're seeking pleasure in crying spells and all that, until unless that you are actually having suicidal thoughts, that you want to end up your life and you just want to commit suicide. Until unless this stage doesn't come, you continuously seek pleasure. That's how it's creepy, and you just can't get out of it easily. When you say that, when people say that, okay, depression, okay, fine, depression, it's just a change of thought process. Change your thought processes, and you will be fine. But no, it's not like that. It's there are, you know, this is not certain behavioral symptoms we are going through, that you are lacking, that you don't have a sleep, you don't have an appetite, or you don't have or you are just not being able to concentrate. These are behavioral symptoms, of course, but there are physical manifestations behind it in your brain even. Like I won't go into that much terminologies, but you know, that parts of the brain like amygdala, like frontal lobe, like that parts of the brain who are dealing with all these things, all these activities, they are actually there is a change in that part of the brain. There is a change in frontal lobe, amygdala, and hippocampus, and there are changes that the scientists have noticed. Similarly, there are neurotransmitters. There is a abnormal transmission of neurotransmitters such as serotonin or epinephrine, or these are neurotransmitters that that deals with all these our emotions and feelings. So there is a change in, there is a shift into dysregulation, you know. Plus the dysregulation of our hormones in our body. Unlike neurotransmitters, there are certain hormones in our body like thyroid hormone. So that thyroid is much more dealing with depression, is involved in depression. So there is a dysregulation of thyroid hormones, and they are actually visible in depressive patients. So beyond behavioral symptoms, there are physical manifestations. So these actually exist. So just don't say that okay, depression is nothing, or it's definitely it's curable, it's treatable. It takes time. It takes time to, you know, once your all the modalities of your brain start functioning in one direction, definitely we need to just take it back. We need to reverse it again. It needs time. It just needs time. It's not like that it's not curable, but it needs time. So the changes are actual. Actually the changes happens in your brain, actually changes happen in your body, and behavior symptoms are also actual. So don't just laugh at people who are depressed, or say that okay, okay fine, it's nothing, it's what's the big deal. But it's a big deal. It's definitely a big deal. And depression is, don't take depression as lightly. Don't take particularly the clinical depression when it's fatal, when it actually leads to suicidal ideation. So it's fatal. It's just not like that you are having a certain cholesterol, high cholesterol, or definitely they are the physical problems. But depression is such a thing that it leads to many physical disabilities. Like it would be a leading cause for many other things. Like for instance, when you're depressed, you're stressed out, and your body is actually behaving and reacting in that depressive form, in that manner, that the depression criteria which I've told you, like all the symptoms I've told you, your body is actually wholly solely, it is basically performing in that way that is supposed to, that a depression body supposed to perform. But what happens that when you want to change it, okay, there is a lot of you can say a hard work that is required. The first thing is your determination, that is your willpower, that you actually want to change yourself, and that you don't want to seek any more pleasure in sadness, and you want to shift yourself. Then definitely it would be a lot more easier to work with you on depression. So these are all the, you know, manifestation of depression that general people should know. General people normally should know. I'm not going so much into the detailings of what depression is and what. I'm just giving you that information that a general people should actually know about it. Not all the wrong information, false informations. I have seen that many sort of information in social media pages, and that is totally wrong, and wrong manifestations of social of all the mental illnesses. And in fact certain hilarious kind of things I've seen too. I would definitely discuss sometime. So we should properly know that what the problem is actually. You know, we have the Google now, we every time at our hands, and we shouldn't be just circulating the information that is not true, that is not accurate, and we should be like focusing on the solution of the problems. Not like we just giving people false hopes and giving people false information regarding mental health and mental illnesses. And we should properly you know, seek help. And one important thing I want to discuss is that people don't generally come to a psychologist just because that it is tabooed, or just because that that there are many stereotypes associated with it. Even, you know, psychologists out there, they all know that how many people we know that very educated, very, you know, literate people, they don't just, if they witness any sort of problem in their family or their own selves, they never go to psychiatrists or psychologists at first hand, just because that what would people think about us, what would people say that we are going through. And simply just knowing this fact, they do not go to any of the doctor, like psychiatrist or psychologist, any of the doctor. Even certain medical practitioners, they just refer them to, still they don't come, just because that what people think about us. So I think this is the time that now at least that we should give proper attention to it, and we took it just like any other physical problem, like a diabetes, like a cholesterol, high cholesterol, or any other knee problem, joint problem. We went to orthopedics. Then why we face such humiliation, or why we face so regret and all that while going towards a psychologist or a psychiatrist? Why it is? It shouldn't be. The mind is the part of our body, just like, you know, just like any other organ of our body. Mind is also part of it. And we seek so humiliation, and we seek so much disgrace just telling other people about what you feel. So I think this is the time that we should think about it, and we should reconsider all life values, that what is important to us, because mental health is the thing that matters the most. You are mentally satisfied, you're mentally happy, you are mentally fine, means you're physically fine too. You're mentally sick, it leads to 100 other problems you have. If I say that depression even leads to cancer, or stress even leads to ulcer, I'm not wrong about it. Definitely they are, our body are just behaving the way you're just giving the commands. Your brain, whatever command your brain is giving to your body is behaving like that, your body is performing like that. So life needs positivity, our bodies needs positivity, positive auras, positive thinking, and in that way we're supposed to have a peaceful, and we are supposed to have a peaceful life, we are supposed to have a peaceful mind. And definitely it will definitely enhance your physical capacity to work. It will enhance your physical. You might notice that you're depressed, you're stressed out, you would do major mistakes in your professional life. You would be unable to do some the tasks, the chores that you're doing in your home, and you would be definitely not able to do that. Not able to do that properly. You can do that, but not able to do that properly the way when you are in a good mood, when you are in a better mood. So just consider that mood, there are the changes in the mood that are natural, right? Mood naturally fluctuates, and everyone experiences lows and highs in their moods in their lives. But in some cases, when these changes persist for a long time, they become more debilitating, then it means that this is not normal. At this time we should seek help. At this time we should ponder about our own selves. Actually, the problem arises that we people are not attending to our bodies. We rarely attend to our own selves. We rarely attend to what's going on inside our body, inside our mind. So we generally very much superficial in our lives. We're just doing things what all the commands we have from our bosses or from our families or from everybody. So we're always just ignoring. We are always just ignoring our own selves, that what's going on within us. So this self-realization, this is critically important in our lives. We should be very much careful about happenings in our own life, in our own aura, how we are feeling, what we are thinking, when we are sad, when we are happy, which situations makes us happy, which situations makes us sad. So we should just consider these all things in our life, and attending to your own self, attending to your own body, it matters a lot. And that's how we would be able to understand properly our own selves, our own mind, what's going on in our mind, and what negativity is and what positivity is. We rarely we just I really notice people talking about positivity and negativity a lot. So I think this is the thing that we should do more often, being more positive, being more vibrant in our lives. And if we talk about treatments, regarding depression. I have talked a lot about depression, actually, what it is, when sadness ends and when depression starts, when is the right time to seek for the doctor's help. So if I would say about the treatment, I have actually I figured out that I have not talked much about its treatment. So I would say that the first thing I have told you, that everybody of us, we need to think life in a broader perspective. So when we take life in a way more broader perspective, then there are chances that you are not depressed. Then there are chances that you are not stressed out in your life. Because taking life in a broader perspective, understanding different dimensions of life, and you're not being so much preoccupied with certain tiny things in life, like one situation or one person or one event or anything like that. So when you take life in a broader perspective, then definitely your chances to be depressed are real. Secondly, when you think that depression is overwhelming you, it's dominating you, then the first thing is that identify what is actually causing you to be depressed. Obviously there are certain obvious reasons. If you are suddenly moving to a depression, like suddenly you find a shift in your life, then definitely there would be a prominent sort of problem, like if somebody has left you, or you lost your job, or you have lost your money in stock or something like that. So there must be some obvious reasons behind it. If you figured out that reasons, that these are the reasons, then definitely you need to attend to all the reasons one by one. For instance, if somebody is not with us, I'm just taking one situation, that if somebody is not with us, if somebody left us, right, and we're alone, like in most of the time, marital conflicts, there are marital conflicts, and the people are depressed most often in that particular part. If you are moving to, if you are just in that phase of conflict, then definitely you need to seek, you need to talk, you need to communicate. If you are not communicating properly, if you are not trying to find out the solution, and that situation is lingering, that situation is continuously adding up in your life, every day every misery is being added up, then definitely you're more vulnerable to depression, or you're more vulnerable to any sort of stress, any sort of mental illness, because it's continuously affecting your mind. So if you have that problem, you should focus on first that thing, first that conflict part, you should find a solution. Then you would be able to find cure for your depression and other things. Because when you don't cure the root cause, you won't be able to cure your other problems related to your depression. For instance, if I'm saying, okay, I'm trying to help you in getting better sleep, I'm trying to help you in getting better appetite, I'm trying to tell you about the positivity of life and all that, good talks. But if I'm not working on your root cause, like the stressors are still there, they're still continuously hurting you, then definitely the other things which I would work on you, they won't work. If I would say that, okay, I'll tell you these tips for your better sleep, before sleeping you do this, and you will have a better sleep. But if the stressor is still there, then definitely it won't work, it won't help at all. So the point is that we need to work on all stressors first. All the issues that are actually are actually causing problems, are actually the reasons behind our depression, or reasons behind our sadness, are these problems, mental problems. We need to first focus on them. We need to find solutions for them. If you have a problem that you've lost your job, so you need to continuously seek out for other jobs, without being sad or without being depressed. Obviously, definitely, most of the people, they lost their jobs and they find other one, sometimes even better than before, and mostly even better than before. So we just need to think about that in that perspective, that okay, fine, it's fine, it's totally normal. Life has ups and downs, and anything can happen. It doesn't mean that everything just go with our plans, and what we're planning in life, it would just go in that direction. No, it won't. Majority of the time what we plan doesn't work. but it doesn't mean that we should just be depressed and just think that okay, now what, now life is over, now there is no more I can do that simply. So this is that the second thing which I've told you, that first thing I'm repeating it again, that first thing is that we need to seek life in a broader perspective. Secondly, we just need to focus on the root cause of the problem. Root cause of your depression, we need to identify what is actually hitting you, what is actually behind your depression, what is actually behind your sadness. So we need to work on that. Thirdly, then comes the other things, like you need to make your sleep better, you need to make your appetite better, you need to write down all your thoughts in a paper, and you need to figure out if you're taking them right or wrong. There is one thing that we normally do with people, we let them write whatever they're thinking, whatever is going on their mind, we just let them write. And when they write down, when they pen down, they definitely clearly see at that moment that okay, it's not rational, it's irrational, it's not logical. They just automatically move towards by understanding on their own selves, like okay, fine, this doesn't seem normal, this doesn't seem I'm going wrong, I think it's not fair. They just again then they write it and they just erase it, because they get it their own self that okay, it's wrong. There is not hopelessness in the life is beautiful. They just automatically find it. So writing what you are thinking is very important to cure your own depression. I would suggest you one thing, that I would always suggest that make a habit of writing a diary. It's very rare nowadays. People don't write more often. They are more into mobiles and social media and Instagram. They would write on Insta, and they would write on Facebook, or they would write on Twitter. They just feel more good writing there and letting people know what they are thinking, letting people know they got a better audience, they got a bigger audience. So it just doesn't help. It just doesn't help in the sense that sometimes you are not getting that attention. It's just a wrong attention. It's or you can say it's a false attention you are getting. You need to write. You need to keep maintain a habit of writing a diary. Diary writing is essential in the sense that when you write a diary at the end of the day, and you're writing down each and everything, basically you're doing your catharsis of the day. You are just letting go. You're just relieving everything that is in your mind and you're writing. It means that it's just coming out of your mind and going somewhere on the paper, on a tangible paper. It's going there. And when your thoughts, and if there are negative thoughts, definitely there must be, and they are just going on the paper, means they are leaving some space from your memory. They're not just consuming your memory at all. If you just sleep without writing, if you just sleep without doing any sort of catharsis, then it just go into your unconscious and it piles up there. So piling up just doesn't help. Piling up is always not so good. We should just relieve ourselves. We should just write more often. So that's one I would suggest you. That's definitely a different tip I'm giving you. Normally depressive patients are not told to write a diary or something like that, but like it's not always like psychologists suggest, but I would say that maintain a habit of this, writing a diary, keeping a diary notes, making all the diary notes and just writing down each and everything that's coming in your mind. That's helpful, quite helpful. Secondly, there are certain exercises, being physically active, it reduces depression. When you are physically active, when you are more in a working mode, when you are more in a situation that your body's energy is properly consumed. For instance, if you do a workout of at least an hour or 2 or half an hour, your sweat, your body's energy is consumed, and you have worked a lot on your body, then your brain cells are automatically refreshen up, and your brain cells again they're consumed, right? So after that you definitely feel freshen up. You would feel so good after an exercise, after doing a workout. Similarly, any physical activity that is that you can choose for yourself every day, that would definitely help you in just not having depression, not going more stressed, because exercise and walk and all these things just always helps people in reducing stress, reducing anxiety, reducing depression, and just maintaining your body posture up to toned body posture, and that actually helps people a lot. Yoga, including yoga, exercise includes yoga too, so it helps a lot. So these are just basic tips I want to tell you to do that, and that definitely helps reduce depression. Plus that helps definitely not getting into the depression, not moving into the depression. When you're so much lazy and sluggish and you're not doing any task, and your mind is continuously stuffed up and suffocated by a lot of information, the flow of information that going inside you, then definitely it's consuming you, and it would come out in any way. If it's not coming out in a physical way, then it would come out in a mental way. It can be a mental illness, it can be your sadness, it can be your depression, it can be your anxiety, it can be your fears, or anything like that. So I hope that this session has helped you a little bit about knowing what depression is, about knowing what actually needs to do in depression, and when is the right time to seek help for depression. And and also need to identify that there is a thing which is sadness, and there is the thing which is depression. When sadness ending and when depression starting, that depression, you should know that it can be a consecutive for 2 to 3 weeks, that you are having same sort of problems which symptoms I have told you, and plus that at that moment you need to seek help from a therapist or a psychiatrist or any other person, a counselor you find anywhere. So, and one more thing, that choosing the right person for you, choosing the right if you are unable to choose the right person for you, then if you're going to any for instance, you say that any medical doctor, any medical practitioner you're going to, and if they're unable to find any problem, any cause of your problem, then definitely they would recommend you to a psychiatrist. If they're recommending you, then please do follow them. It shouldn't be like, okay fine, they have recommended me but I'm not going there. It shouldn't be like that. So you should just take yourself seriously, and you should consider whatever happens to you, whatever happening around you, you should take it seriously, and you should just work on your own self. So that's how it is, and I hope that the session helps you a little bit, knowing all the details, and let me know if anything you want to know more about depression, if anything you want to add up, and please write in the comment section, and please give us a feedback. And I would definitely start, I'm saying that I'm starting a series. So like today I've talked about depression, so soon I would be talking about anxiety or phobias or fears, or there are many common mental illnesses. So I would be dealing all the common mental illnesses that are very much prevalent around us. So we would discuss one by one, and I would be coming up with the basic information, because I have given you the basic information of depression, right? So similarly, I would be giving you all the basic information regarding other mental illnesses, and you would be able to know that what it is actually, and what is the right information and what is the wrong information that is being passed on social media websites. So thank you very much, and hope to see you soon, and that's it. Allah Hafiz, and take good care of yourself.